have barge for $100.
Great, now don't move. I'll be back as quick as possible with the money. You must really get to see the countryside. Do you know New York at all?
We not understand.
I'm looking for a funny little man who is supposed to live in Syberia. Can you imagine that? Syberia. I expect you've already been there.
Shivraga come to Syberia?
Siberia? No. Too cold. Barge no break ice.
I hope my train isn't too big for your barge.
Tis okay. Motorboat erste klasse.
My husband say correct. Powerful motor.
I mean, we're not exactly very far from the winding machine, are we? It's dumb, isn't it, all this effort to go a few yards?
Put train in barge? Nah, not possible.
Have you gone down to take a look around the station yet? It's amazing. You know, it's full of exotic birds.
Me to Moigir? Ja. Ja, met plezier.
We no leave boat. Husband is land sick.
It's not very polite of you to take advantage of my predicament. We could have done favors for each other, for free, out of solidarity.
See?
Father, Allah speak not full. Money, ja, big full.
Excuse me?
My husband say need money for leave. $100 not lot for fancy lady like you.
How would you know a fancy lady like me, really?
Huh.
I'll leave you to it. I won't disturb you again.
До свидания.
Okay, so now we gotta find money. Let's go rob somebody. Let's go rob the old caretaker. Well, hello. Oh. Wow. It's a big library. Oh, just steal a library book. Memoirs of an Expedition. Oh, red cuckoo. Or your icon turns into a hand. Well, that was cool. Pretty much it. Alright, what are we looking for? Hello? She really doesn't like stairs, does she? Hello.
Good day to you, gentlemen.
Tell me, young lady, to what do we owe this pleasure?
Please do be brief. We do not have very much time on our hands.
As rectors of this university, we have serious matters to attend to and our time is precious.
I have heard you wish to meet the owner of the train that is currently in your station. May I know the reason for your summons?
We are surprised that your train has not yet left, miss. The situation is most regrettable.
The rules do clearly state that trains are meant to come and go and not remain stationary at a platform.
Trains should first stop, then subsequently leave. That is the rule.
We agree then, dear colleagues, that what we're dealing with is deviant behavior.
This matter really is cause for concern.
It's a clockwork train, you see? So it needs winding up again. Unfortunately, there is no equipment in the station to do this.
A clockwork train? That's strange.
How very quaint. You mean it's some sort of mechanical toy?
You are causing a hindrance to us, miss.
I am very hopeful that I will find what I need along the wall.
The
wall?
Miss, that really is not a suitable place for you to
The
go.
what?
Especially for a young lady.
You see, miss, we freely admit that every day we praise the existence of that particular edifice. We owe the integrity of our dear university and the fine education it provides to the wall.
It protects us from harm and invasion from the unknown.
May God protect us from what is beyond those ramparts, miss. Please believe me.
I don't have any choice. I must continue my journey.
Such a decision is a correct one since it's in line with regulations.
Thus, your train will indeed be able to leave.
And consequently cease to obstruct our station.
I haven't introduced myself. My name is Kate Walker.
Walker, haven't we already had a Miss Walker? Ethnology Masters, September 1953, if my memory serves me correctly.
Perfectly well, my dear colleague. But if I may be so bold, it was a Mr. Walker and not a Miss. It was Bill Walker, sat this June '68 exams. The impudent fool turned up for the oral assessment in jeans, flouting strict internal regulations which explicitly state the required uniform for the occasion.
Pure incitement. It was scandalous. Sadly, we have seen worse since. Young people lack all respect of traditional values.
Tradition, young lady. One must always uphold tradition.
You see, I didn't actually intend to stop here, but the springs of my train gave up, you see?
No, not really. You mean to say you're not a student?
You have arrived a little late in the term, miss. Enrollment for this year has already terminated.
But as rectors of this university and therefore representatives of its highest authority, we could bend the rules a little, if you like.
You don't understand. I'm a lawyer from New York, or rather Valladolid more precisely. My client wants to buy out an old mechanical toy factory, but its heir isn't actually dead and is living somewhere in Syberia. I've got to get to him to sign the sales contract. You see?
Not really. This is a most peculiar tale.
A kerfuffle of the highest order.
Not a
We have an
kerfuffle.
excellent law school, if you should ever change your mind.
Can you possibly help me out here?
Miss, your insistence is almost verging on indecency.
We cannot constantly be at your disposal. We have many other requests to attend to.
If you don't mind, could you not disturb us all the time? Thank you.
Does the name Hans Vorarlberg mean anything to you by chance?
Ah, one of the brightest, most idealistic intellects to have graced our university. Hans Vorarlberg. I remember speaking to him once. I was still a student at the time. He just stared at me, lost in thought for a while. He scarcely ever said a word. But how can one forget him?
Idealistic? I'll grant you that, but bright? Oh, don't go too far. He was completely incapable of passing any exams. All he ever did was to sit in on lessons, and not many of them either. Paleontology, mainly. He had an unhealthy passion for mammoths, which matched the state of his intellect perfectly. That is to say, prehistoric.
Prehistoric?
rude.
How dare you? A little far-fetched, maybe. But he did have flashes of intellectual brilliance, comprehensible only to high-minded scholars who hold no score by appearances. My dear colleague, your hasty conclusions are somewhat cavalier.
My assessment is wholly accurate. The boy was a little odd. You must concur if my father, who was rector of the university at the time, had not shown great indulgence towards him. Hans Vorarlberg would have never attended this establishment.
What about the bandstand, then? Is that the work of a deranged mind? Even after all these years, you are still jealous of it.
My dear colleagues, I beseech you, let's show some decorum. We have a visitor. What do you want with Hans Vorarlberg, miss? Are you a member of his family?
No, not at all. I'm looking for him to clear up an inheritance matter. Is he still here?
What? Here? At the university? No, not at all. He left a long time ago. Yes, a very long time ago. The very year I was nominated to this position, in fact. Almost 50 years ago already.
The poor soul moved on once he learned all he needed to know about mammoths.
Ah, this establishment was never quite the same after his departure, it must be said.
You mean to say it was never as bad? All that oddball brought to this university was his misplaced fantasies.
Gentlemen, gentlemen, let's try to retain the calm and level-headedness that befits our position.
Excuse me.
Miss, we find ourselves terribly put out by the presence of your train in our station and by its recurrent immobility.
Indeed, the situation is very regrettable. Your huge locomotive is very cumbersome.
A train should first stop, then subsequently leave. That is the rule.
That idea of the station aviary is really very original.
It's the pride of our university. One of the specialties taught here is zoology, you see, and more particularly, ornithology. Proper study and instruction should not be limited to books. Observation of living matter is indissociable from theoretical questions.
It contains some very rare specimens that have been brought back from far-away, exotic countries, especially for our university, by the world's most intrepid explorers.
Do you remember Alexander Valenbois and his peculiar bird?
Absolutely. His gift produced some very embarrassing long-term consequences.
A poison chalice indeed. It must be said the situation could have been much worse, however.
Oh, yes, it could have been terribly problematic.
You wouldn't know if there is any Forest Sauvignon here in Barrackstadt, would you?
Absolutely.
When he says absolutely, he means, of course, absolutely none.
What we mean, of course, is that we are absolutely positive there is no Forest Sauvignon here in Barrackstadt.
Really? Are you sure? Because I read in a book that Barrackstadt possesses a number of plants. I wouldn't mind getting a hold of some if possible.
Out of the question, miss.
The assistant rector means to say that our priority is for you to remove your train from our station. Your research will have to wait until your next stop.
Yes, that's right. Your train must leave the station immediately, so please refrain from wasting our time in needless visitations.
Don't forget the regulations, miss. Don't forget them. Trains should first stop, then subsequently leave. And quickly.
Those are the rules.
Some sailors have agreed to tow the train, but I don't have enough money to pay them. I was wondering if you could help me out. For a while. I could work for the money.
Please wait, miss. We have certain confibulations to attend to.
That is right. We must confibulate between ourselves.
Whoop.
A collegiate decision must be taken.
This
I
is a
hope that
family
we're not indisposing you in any way.
Why not?
If it helps us get rid of that train.
My word, that is a fine idea.
What do you have in mind, gentlemen?
When you arrived here, you must have noticed a splendid bandstand which honors the main university courtyard.
A unique piece of mechanical craftsmanship which no longer works, alas.
Why, yes, we have very moving memories of its melodies. We're prepared to offer you a financial reward if you can set it working again.
With pleasure. What do I have to do?
Unfortunately, my dear, Time and rust have taken their toll on this university, and our automatons no longer have a spring in their step. You are going to have to be resourceful.
To tell you the truth, there are a number of complex mechanisms here in Barakstadt, and it would appear that we have unfortunately lost their operating instructions.
Of course.
Your train, however, is an extremely ingenious invention, so you should be no stranger to complex mechanisms, should you? We are therefore counting on your ingenuity, miss.
I hope that I can show myself worthy of your faith in me, gentlemen.
Well, my dear colleagues, one more university matter nicely tied up.
Well, it's not
Here
quite
we are,
tied
busy
up.
chatting, and look at the clock. It's tea time.
Already?
time.
My word, doesn't time fly by?
Thank you for a charming visit, miss.
And thank you, gentlemen.
Fix a water fountain. Music fountain. Oh, careful. Don't trip down the stairs. Run. Take this. Yeah. Uh-oh.
Hello?
So, you got him then, this air?
Ah, it's you, Mr. Marson. Good day, and how are you, sir?
I'll feel a whole lot better when this whole business is over and the sales contract is signed. Where the hell are you?
I'm in Barakstadt.
What? What in God's name are you doing there?
It's a magnificent university town. It would appear Hans Vorarlberg once passed by here several years ago.
So if he isn't there anymore, then there's no point hanging around.
I hear what you're saying, sir, but I have good reason to believe that Hans Vorarlberg is still alive. For the time being, I'm trying to gather extra information from people who have known him.
What's your next destination?
I'm not exactly sure yet.
Doesn't sound like you know too much, Kate.
I just need a bit of time, Mr. Marson.
Yeah, well, time is what you ain't got. Keep me posted.
I don't think I was done in here. This way. So we went this way. We didn't go this way.
Excuse me. Sir, please, just a moment.
Yes, what is it? I'm not deaf, you know.
I am sorry to disturb you in your work, sir, but...
This young Mammothus primigenius is barely 40,000 years old. Fantastic, wouldn't you say, miss?
Yes. Probably.
What do you mean, probably?
I don't know.
You don't know? Oh, you don't know, I see. What can I do for you, my dear child?
To tell you the truth, I don't know very much about mammoths, and I'm not here as a student. In fact, I'm a lawyer.
It's all right. Nobody is perfect. All the same, the study of the Pleistocene period is fascinating.
I'm sure it is, but I'm sorry to say my current mission is totally monopolizing my time. Another time, maybe.
Ah, that's what they all say. But anyway, let me present myself. I am Cornelius Ponce, Emeritus Professor and Lecturer at the University of Barakstadt. I'm proud to say that I'm head of the Department of Paleozoology at our university.
Kate Walker. Pleased to meet you. It wasn't really my intention to stop off here, but I'll confess, this university is really very impressive.
Ah, indeed. There's such a tradition of learning here, and so much knowledge, a real depth of culture, intelligence, and gray matter. I myself did my studies here and never left.
Actually, I'm here because I've been summoned by the rectors of the university.
Oh, I see. You must have made a mistake on your enrollment form.